What's up guys? Today I'm gonna show you how you can set up the wheel mode for a PC on the TheCrewMotorfest. I'll briefly explain you what the mode will do. Basically it's gonna emulate a wheel on your controller setup so you can have a instant response of your steering. As you see, I'm right now with a F1 car, so if I go like on the front and I just turn left, right, you can see also my controller on the left side. It's super slow, it's sluggish. Same goes when I go inside the cockpit. It's like super slow. And the faster you go, the more counter steering there is to your input. So it's basically like simulating that you're driving fast and the steering is getting harder to turn around. But if you have a wheel, there's an instant response to whatever input you're giving with the wheel. So it doesn't make any sense to be implemented the way that they implemented. I'm talking about Ivy Tower and Ubisoft are responsible for the way the game it is at the moment. I understand that some people think that's cheating, but if you have the money and you buy a wheel, you can actually set it up, for example, on 180 degree. So basically you're doing whatever I'm gonna do with the wheel mode, but probably even more precise in the cornering because you have a feedback from the wheel when the tires are spinning or oversteering, for example, or when your back is pushing in the oversteer. So there's way more feedback and you can correct the car. With the wheel mode, you don't have any of this. So basically you only see the smoke from the tire coming out and then you can correct it, or you hear the sounds coming out from the tires. But if you drive enough, you can still get used to it. But yeah, anyway, what I'm saying is this is an issue in the game and they need to fix it somehow. For example, in Forza games, you can play also with a wheel and a controller, and it's like 10,000 times better, honestly. For drifting or for driving, like cruising around, doesn't matter. It's way more responsive to whatever input you're giving with the controller, and they need to refine that. It's a big issue at the moment and I don't like it at all. I knew about wheel mode, even on the Crew 1 there was modes about that. The Crew 2 had as well, and now the Crew Motorfest have it as well. On the Crew 1, from what I remember, there was something with the drivers that you can basically make it old drivers for the controllers, and the game recognized this gamepad from the old ones, which is gonna do the same thing, but there was no like small corrections. You literally either go left and right or you go straight. There was no like in the middle point. That's why I didn't use it at that time. At the Crew 2, there was not that big of an issue, although I hated some of the cars because there was a lot of delay in the steering and it was not like fun to drive, honestly. In the Crew Motorfest, they reworked the whole physics system and the cars are driving way differently, but it's way more realistic. From one point, it's still arcadey, it's still not like super realistic, but like a sim racing game. But yeah, with this limitation that they put on the controller, it's like unplayable in my opinion. Before we start this, I want you to go back to the game and change some of the controls. So basically, we create a XML file that we'll need to change some of the stuff. I forgot to mention one more thing that we need to do before we continue. There is a folder which I will show you as a pop-up, and I'll link them in the description below. Basically here are all the config files needed for the game, and we need to create, so to say, the files that we need to change, basically to set up the controls to correspond to the wheel and not to the controller. For this we'll need to go to input remapping and then go to controller and then to ground vehicle and just change, for example, something. It doesn't matter really, you can change any of the settings, it's gonna create the files. So just, for example, this one, do from left to right, mix them up, and it's gonna ask you if you want to do it, just do it, doesn't matter really. And then the files will be created. Basically these three files will be for me created. It depends on what device you're using. This number, basically ID number, will be changed. I will link in the description below exactly which one of these are corresponding to which controller, because there is difference between an Xbox controller, a PS4 controller, and PS5 controller. And we can continue after that to set up the wheel mod. So I'm back to my desktop, and as you see, I let 3 icons in the middle of my desktop. This is the 3 programs that we'll need. I will link them down in the description how you can download it. They're all free, so no worries about that. The first 2 are the ones that are gonna be for the setup, and the third one is only for the driver if you're missing it. First, open the vJoy config. You can find it in the search bar after you install it. Just type up vJoy and you'll see it like over here. Yeah, click on it. Should be like that. Do not touch anything. This first step should be green. That means it's recognizing your controller. So here should be set like vJoy devices 1. That's it. You don't do anything else. Close that and then open the UCR. So I already have a setup here, but I will delete it. Just here on the right. And after that, I'm gonna click on the icon here, create a new one. I'll call it a wheel. After that, you have the input device and the output device. Here's all the magic that is happening basically. Do not choose the Xbox One for Windows because it's not gonna work probably. You need the X input and not the direct input, because I tried already with this tool. It's not gonna work. That's why you need this tool. If you don't have this tool, that's when this thing comes in hand. What you need to do is just open it, go here and click this one and this one, and it's gonna create you a new profile basically, or the missing drivers that you're not seeing. You can also see it in devices here if everything is created and made. So I'll close this again and I'll go back to the universal control remapper. I'll mark the Xbox control one, and on the right side scroll at the bottom. If you have too much of those, you need to search for the vJoy stick one. Just mark that as well and click on create. Then you will need to click on axis to axis and not axis to axis, right? So just go here and click on the plus, name it as well, like wheel for example, and then you'll be greeted with this stuff here. So first you'll need to click on the 3 dots, like here on the 3 dots, then go to axis and choose L Hicks, right? So that's the left thumb stick and the X axis. So click on that, and then here on the axis to axis, just leave it as a default joystick, and then click on the 3 dots over there, then go to axis and choose X. That should be enough actually to configure it to work, right? So after this is done, you can actually test it right away. Just press on play and move your left stick on your controller, and it should move as well as here. So that's the way to find it out if it's working or not. For the moment I will stop it. Before we close the program or minimize it, we can save the profile first. Just go here on the left side and click on save and close the window, and then we can minimize it. Then we can go back to the documents folder where all the binds are. So in my case, as I said before, I will link them below, all of the settings that you need to check and the information that you will need. So just check them out. Here's the bind for the Xbox One and 360 controller. Just open that. Basically, you need to find the binding for the driving here. basically from row 71. And then we need to find the left and right. Basically roll steering left and roll steering right. This is the two that we messed up, basically. As you see, left is right and right is left. Click on them and just delete the text inside. Do not delete the bolts from the side. So the same goes for this one as well. So basically these two, only these two need to be changed. And we can go to the bolt as well, basically here, and delete both of them as well. The reason is because boats and ground vehicles are almost the same, but if you go to airplane, it's completely different, and we don't want to control it as well, because you're gonna do a lot of loops if you like try to steer. So we save that, and we close the document. You can, by the way, open it with, in my case, the Node++, or you can just open it with the normal Notepad. Doesn't really matter what you use. Now we will continue with the setup in the game. Before that, we'll go back to the universal control remap and just mark the profile that you want to start and click on the play button. Activate it and minimize the program. Same time, start up the TheCrewMotorfest game, and we can continue to set up the game inside. So after we're inside the game, we can go back to the input remapping and go to a controller, and you can see that turn left and right are deleted. That's because we did it the XML files. Same goes for both, right? So we don't need to put any input devices here in the controller or the keyboard. We go back to the wheel and accessories. Go inside, and on the ground vehicles on the right, you go turn left and right. Just click on the A button for me to bind. Click it and then click left on the stick. And the same goes to the right side. Then go to both and do the same. Turn left, turn right. I forgot to mention some settings that you need to set up for a better driving experience. Just go to the controls and then go to wheel controls, because basically you're driving a wheel right now, although it's a controller. And here on the preset, just do it on a custom and change the linearity to 100 and highest to highest 100. And the dead zone depends on your controller. If you have problems with drifting stick, like for example, you push left or right and you lift your finger off the thumbstick, it's still like steering left or right. You can just do it step by step, 5, 10, 15, until it's gone and there is no problems with your thumbstick. But for me, it's alright even on 0, so that's why I'm gonna leave it on 0. Second stuff that you need to take care of is the gearbox. You will not change it anymore from here. You need to go to the wheel controls and the gearbox. There you can swap to sequential with shifter, manual clutch, or whatever you like, just so you know about that. One more thing that I forgot to mention is you can change the sensitivity from the universal control remapper. So just choose the profile that you created, double tap on it and go the bottom right, basically sensitivity. There is a percentage, usually should start straight from 100, so it's 1 to 1. For me, I put like just a little bit under that. It's way more comfortable for me. When you go under 96, I think 95, 96, it's gonna start to feel like the steering is not responsive, so don't overdo it and test it out for yourself. But for me, for example, it's 98. When you decide what number is it, Just go, we'll change it one time, and then press on the save on top left, then you can start it again. Alright guys, that's it. That's how you set up the wheel mode for the TheCrewMotorfest. I hope you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the content, and see you until next time. Oh, by the way, stop, I forgot. If you have some problems with the game or something is not working the way that you want to work, or the tutorial that I show you, just write it down in the comments and I'll try to answer it or make a video about it. So yeah, no worries about that. Bye bye.